Good day. For those individuals, for those learners who are watching this video, good day, most especially to my prof, Sir EJ. Um, Today within this video, I'll be discussing my assigned topic, which is from the chapter 7.9 to 7.11, which is, let's first have the 7.9, which is entitled the corpus studies of the social nature of discourse. But before that, let's have a definition of how we identify or how we define the term corpus. No, we already discussed this one, so it could just considered as a recap. Now, so when we say corpus, it's a large collection of spoken or written text. Now, meaning this corpus is a large collection of a written or spoken text. Now, when we say corpus studies, now this is the corpus studies involve analyzing a large collection of spoken or written text. We call it as corpora. Now researchers use these collections to study patterns in language use, grammar, vocabulary, and communication as well. And that's how we define the term corpus. The next one, we have the social nature of discourse. Now, when we say social nature of discourse, the discourse reflects social interaction. Now, meaning when we say a social nature of discourse, this means that language is connected to the society and interaction. The way people speak depends on their social context and relationships, and also the community. Within this 7.9, Suarez in 2003 investigated or conduct a research about and he utilized the Mike case, or when you say Mike case, it is where it is a method or Michigan Corpus of Academic Spoken English. Now, with the use of this my case, now he utilized to find out whether in academic setting, whether in spoken language, does a university, in a university context, is it a single community of practice or a set of trivialized coteries? Now, meaning that he studied whether a university function as one community of practice or as separate academic groups. No. Now, as for his findings, he found out that in terms of academic speaking, was more conversational and informal than expected. No, the different academic disciplines shared many similarities in terms of spoken communication, and they also have this features of academic speech, no, and also for its important features of academic speech, no. First one, we do have the guarded rather than evaluative, meaning that the in terms of academic speech was guarded, meaning that the speakers avoided strong judgment. No, it's rather than evaluative or being judgment. Next one, we do have the differential rather than confrontational. Now it was also differential, meaning that the speaker showed politeness and respect instead of confrontation. Vocabulary was simple and unpretentious, meaning that in terms of speaking in a speaking context in academic setting, the speakers showed they utilize a kind of vocabulary that is simple and also natural, instead of using those words or those terminologies that is unfamiliar to the receiver, something like that. And also they avoided name dropping and obscure references. Now, according to findings of Suarez, he noticed that the frequent use of fillers, such as and it makes it more informal because of the presence of these fillers. Now, these fillers are common, in normal conversation. Speakers also use long connected clauses and hedges, like sort of, to sound less direct. So the next one, we also have this what we call collocation and corpus studies. This is based on Brian Paltridge, whatever how you pronounce that, and discourse analysis. We look at what collocation means as well. We also going to have a recap about this one, since collocation has already been discussed, but we're just going to have a recap with this one. How researchers use corpus tools to find these patterns, and what these patterns tell us about language, culture, and also social meaning. We will cover 3 key studies: academic writing by Highland, cross-cultural internet language by Owe, and genre patterns in personal ads by Bruyax. Okay, let's start. So now let's do a recap about collocation. Now, when we say collocation, it means that these words that naturally and frequently occur together. Now, they are word partnership that we learn and we use as a fixed expression. For to better understand, let's have this example. For example, we say make a mistake instead of saying do a mistake. We say heavy rain instead of saying strong rain, diba? Now, this combination sounds natural and correct to native speakers, even though there is no strict grammar rule explaining why. But corpus studies help us find exactly which words go together, how often, and what that means socially. Now, before we look at the first study, let's define these 4 key terms we will use. The first one, we do have the dissertation. Now, when we say dissertation, there's a long research paper learners write to complete to complete a university degree. Next, we have the acknowledgement. When we say acknowledgement, this is the section at the beginning or end where you thank everyone who helped you. Acknowledgement on word itself. The next one, we do have the scholarly networks. Now, when we say scholarly networks, now these are the relationships, communities, and groups that exist between students, teachers, and researchers as well. We also have this self effacement. So when we say self-effacement, that this means being modest, humble, and not showing off or bragging. This is very important value in academic culture. Now, according to our study, this study is the study by Highland and T in 2004. They use corpus analysis to look at dissertation and acknowledgement. Now, this searched thousands of texts to see exactly how students express gratitude. And what did they find? Now, they find that the most common collocation was special thanks. And we also have sincere thanks, and then deep thanks. And these are the standard ways of scholars thank people. And this deep thanks is what we call the collocation. Words that are sound naturally together, 2 words that sounds naturally together. Now this Highland and argue that when students use these exact phrases, they are not just being polite. They're showing they They belong to the scholarly network. They know how academics speak and write. They follow academic norms, gratitude, modesty, and self-effacement. No? Now, if you wrote big things or huge things, it would sound wrong, right? No, because that is not the collocation in this community or the collocation that is being accepted. No? Accepted. Now, collocation here is a membership and also an identity. So the next one we have now, next we look at our study from 2001. He analyzed personal ads on the internet, now comparing writers from the USA and Singapore. He used corpus tool called Wordsmith tools to see this pattern. Now he asked, does culture change how we write? Do men and women speak differently? And for his finding, in terms of culture matters, writers from the US frequently use words like attractive and great to describe people, but writers from Singapore almost never use these words. Even in the same genre, personal ads, culture changes the collocation. Even the same genre, personal ads, culture changes the collocation we choose. The second finding, gender matters. When describing age, men often wrote things like 39 years old. Women, however, rarely stated their exact age as well. Now let's move to Brethiok's study in 1994 on the ads in the LA Weekly. He identified very specific linguistic patterns that define this genre. Now the first pattern, we have this personal chaining. Now meaning this personal chaining, this means that writing a strict or list of descriptive words or phrases, one after another, separated only by commas. You combine many qualities into a one short sequence as well. Example, the artistic, athletic, adorable. Now they do this because, according to research, they do this because ads have limited space. It is the economy of language, meaning you pack as much meaning as possible into a very few words. It is exactly like a newspaper, headlines, or notes. The second pattern found by this researcher, the hyphenated expression, from the word itself, hyphenated. Now these are words joined together by an hyphen to create one single descriptive term. Now here's common example. Now we have this good looking. Now as you can see, the term good looking there is being separated by the hyphen. Commitment minded, offbeat, things like that. Now these are fixed collocation. They collocate with words like man or woman. Now if you want to write a personal ad, you must know the standards hyphenated phrases. Now these are fixed collocation. They collocate with words like man or woman. If you want to write a personal ad, you must know the standards hyphenated phrases. And now they are shortcuts that everyone in this discourse community understand. And now let's move on to 7.11, which is entitled The Criticism of Corpus Studies. Now within this section, while the corpus studies are powerful for finding language patterns, they are not perfect. Scholars have pointed out important weaknesses. Within this topic, there are two main criticisms: how experts answer them, and practical ways to make corpus analysis meaningful and complete as well. So here, computers only sort and list words. They treat language like separate pieces, not a whole connected message. For example, software counts how many times appears, or the filler appears, but it cannot explain why the speaker uses it. Hesitation? Is it politeness? thinking time, something like that. It sees parts, not the big picture or social meaning. Here, next we have this, no? Corpus data. Here, corpus data gives you the words, but not the situation. The same phrase like close the door, meaning something differently is said by a teacher, a parent, or a boss without knowing who, why, where, when, to whom. The patterns tell us nothing about real communication. Not critics says corpus works stays only at item level, not discourse level. As Flower D reviewed all these problems and said, we do not throw away corpus work, we improve it. Now corpus gives us facts and patterns that is still very valuable. We just need to add context and interpretation to make it complete. Tribble says, don't just count words, study the whole picture, studying language, understanding social and contextual knowledge, not just grammar or vocabulary. Now this features locator analysis and gives patterns real meaning, no, as what the table 1 in the PDF explain, as it is evident as well. So that would be all my topic for this. That would be all, no, my topic. Thank you for watching. Bye.